America's #1 independent television network presents the following sports exclusive. TVS presents NASL Championship Soccer is brought to you by the people who bring you the light, refreshing taste of Coca-Cola. Coke adds life to the games you're playing and the life you're living. And by Toyota. You asked for soccer, you got it. Thanks to Toyota, makers of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, the official car of the NASL. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Hello, everyone. Today, from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., RFK Stadium on a beautiful springtime day, NASL soccer returns to the air. I'm John Miller, and this is our first of a series of ball games this year throughout the summer. A couple of aggressive ball clubs playing today, and in a moment, Paul Gardner, our color analyst, will join us, and we'll take a look at the two ball clubs.
To get 30 tons of logs off a mountain, you get to know a little about fear and a lot about driving. And you get to know about ice and snow and rain and hairpin turns. And in the end, with your truck, your logs, and you still in one piece, you get to know about Miller Time, too. Miller Time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
When it's time to relax, one beer stands clear. Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer.
The man who will be analyzing our telecasts of TBS Soccer this year is the editor of Soccer Express, one of the most knowledgeable people on soccer in America, Paul Gardner.
Thank you, John. Let's take a look at four of the players we're going to be watching today. Fort Lauderdale, a young American in midfield. Starting his first game, Curtis Lieber. Ron Newman thinks he can do a good job here. The only thing he lacks, really, is experience. Now, when it comes to experience on the Fort Lauderdale team, we have to think of Gordon Banks, the goalkeeper. 38 years old, played in every level of soccer, every type of game you could want. He's really used to these high-pressure games and the sort of physical battering that a goalkeeper has to take. And while I'm talking of physical battering, let's look at one of the Washington players, Paul Cannell, who's sort of established a reputation for himself up to now as somebody who runs into goalkeepers. He's been sent off in one game already this season for this, so we'll have to watch out that confrontation between the two there. Also on the Washington team, looking at the defense, another American, Roy Wilner, the veteran of all things of this club here. You don't usually get Americans around that long on a club, but he's been with this club since 1974. Fine, tenacious marker, very fast, somebody who Coach Gordon Bradley can rely on to really take care of dangerous opposing forwards.
Thank you, Paul, and we'll be back with a kickoff. Fort Lauderdale versus Washington after this. All right. The two ball clubs just about ready to go. You get a look at the officials in the middle. Paul Avis, the referee, flanked in the left by Guy Frazier and Peter H. Johnson, who are the two linesmen working the ball game today. The Washington Diplomats in the red with the white trim, kicking the ball off, and the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, the ball club with the best record in the entire North American Soccer League last year, in the white. Gordon Banks in goal, Andy Rolland, Roberto Aguirre, Tony Whelan, and Gord Fernley the back line. Ray Hudson, Maurice Whittle, and Curtis Leeper in the middle. George Dusnip, David Irving, and Colin Fowles are the forwards. Diplomats putting the ball on the attack, and Paul Cannell, number 9, the striker, knocks the ball out of bounds. Bill Irwin in goal, Roy Wilner on the right side, Mike Dillon, Jimmy Steele in the middle, and Tommy O'Hara is in the middle on the back line. Sakib Viteskic in the middle with Carmen Marcantonio. And in essence, a four-man front line. Ray Graydon on the right side. Bobby Stokes, who'll be playing behind Paul Cannell at the striker, and Mike Bakic on the left wing. The Washington Diplomats, 2 wins and no losses as the season begins, and they have yet to allow a goal. They opened up with a 3-0 victory on the road at Philadelphia. Paul Cannell got 2 goals in that game. And then last week here at RFK Stadium, they beat the Chicago Sting 1-0. Washington putting the ball on the attack. Cannell feeds to Mike Bakic, back inside for Stokes, but it's cleared away by the Strikers. This is David Irving, number 10, going after the ball. He's the striker for Fort Lauderdale. Striker, the man in the middle. Generally the big scorer for the ball club. Giorgio Quinaglia, of course, the big scorer in New York. He is the striker there. Now this is Irving. He's picked up by Jimmy Steele, number 8, the sweeper back for Washington, in a hard foul. And I think Steele is going to get a yellow card. He is. Issued a yellow card. As you get a look there at Curtis Leeper. And David Irving is hurting a little bit. And Paul Gardner, one thing the Strikers just cannot afford any more of right now is injuries.
They've got a lot of injuries, and they're playing short of personnel here. I think it's encouraging in a way to see the referee give that yellow card early in the game, because that will really sit on, if there's going to be any of this hard stuff, that'll sit on it early in the game, and hopefully we won't get any more of it. That was a really brutal tackle from behind, quite unnecessary.
Irving is up and apparently is going to be able to proceed, and it will be a free kick for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers on the left wing. Fort Lauderdale, after a marvelous season last year, off to a very slow start. They were beaten by the Cosmos 7-0 on the road, and then they lost at home 2-1 to Detroit. That ball inside for David Irving, and I believe he... But then a hard full volley taken from 30 yards out by Paul Cannell, sails high and wide, and a goal kick for Gordon Banks, number 1, right there, the Fort Lauderdale goalkeeper.
It would be an opportunistic shot if it had been on target, but I mean, it was just a slashing volley, which went, as you saw, John, slightly wide of the goal there. 25 yards, would you say?
Cannell is a good scorer. He has the knack to find the goal. 2 years ago, he played for Washington, had 13 goals and 2 assists, one of the leading figures in the league. Did not play here last year, and they bought him from a team over in England, and already he's got a couple of goals. This is Ray Graydon, the right wing. Already has a goal and 2 assists. They say he and Cannell work very well together, but Fort Lauderdale comes out with it. Curtis Leeper now is tripped on a tackle, and a foul is called on the Diplomats. Curtis Leeper starting his first game ever. A second-round draft choice out of Florida International University. I guess he's kind of excited.
He certainly must be. It's an honor, I think, to start at midfield, where there's a crucial position on the team for a young American like that. You don't see many of them in this league.
Diplomats have taken it away. Viteskic, number 6, but he loses to Maurice Whittle, the captain of the ball club. Now Colin Fowles in the corner. Roy Wilner on him. Tries to push it through his legs. And Washington comes out with it in trouble. But they clear it out. This is Mike Bakic, the left wing, coming back to help out. The Diplomats start the counterattack. This is Cannell along the sideline. The entire ball must go out of bounds to be out of bounds. This is Bobby Stokes. Here's the cross. Here's the header. It's just a bit high. Moving in was number 5, Mark Antonio.
You see a bit of play there when Stokes went to center that ball. That should have been a left foot center. He stopped it, pulled it back, and switched it to his right foot, indicating he has much more faith in his right foot than his left.
This is Ray Hudson, number 4, midfielder. Takes the ball back off the heading clear by Mike Dillon, but offside is called against the Fort Lauderdale Strikers. Looked like Colin Fowles off in the middle was offside.
Yeah, he got too far ahead of the play. He was desperately trying to run back to get himself behind the defender, but of course you're not allowed to do that. Once you're offside, and that's all there is to it.
The Diplomats' defense has been a strong point, not only this year, but last year as well. But that man, Bill Irwin, has had to make only 10 saves in his 2 shutouts, so they've been keeping the pressure off of him. Stokes knocks the ball off number 17, George Dusnip, and it will be a Diplomats throw-in. Dusnip had a good year for Fort Lauderdale, played half a season, good playmaker, had 6 assists. Cannell saves it inbounds along the end line. Roberto Aguirre, the sweeper's on him. In traffic, Viteskic. Tommy O'Hara, here's the cross. The header, wide open net, but it goes wide. Again, that was Mark Antonio. We saw him a while ago. The cross from Stokes was over his head. That time he got the header. Fort Lauderdale ball after the goal kick. David Irving. Quick pass. Now Colin Fowles in a foot race, but Jimmy Steele comes in to knock the ball loose to help out Roy Wilner. And the Diplomats bring it out. That's the sweeper's job.
Or to cover for other defenders, of course, when they're getting beaten. And there you saw an example of, I suppose, the way that Fort Lauderdale are going to use Fowles to give him long balls to run onto. He obviously has a fine burst of speed. He outpaced Wilner on that, was saved by Steele, the sweeper coming across to make a tackle.
Fowles, number 22 from Long Island University. First-round draft choice by the Tampa Bay Rowdies a couple of years ago. Finally got a chance to play last year for Fort Lauderdale and scored 5 goals and 4 assists. Strikers have it at midfield. This is Dusnip. Dumps it off for Ray Hudson. Hudson, 4 goals and 3 assists last year. Nice clear there by O'Hara. Here comes Bobby Stokes. He's got Cannell in the middle. He's got to beat Aguirre. Here's the shot. Knocked down by Aguirre. Good defensive play, but now Bakic has it. Chips it inside for Stokes, and the strikers all raised their hands to say offside. But the linesman on top of the play said no, Stokes was onside, but Stokes had stopped in the play and couldn't get it.
This is Aguirre, former All-Leaguer back in 1974, the fine veteran defenseman in the league. Now Tony Whelan played every minute of every game last year. He's number 6. Gord Fernley, the left fullback. Now Whelan's in trouble, so drops it back to Gordon Banks. There's another fellow played every minute of every game last year, and a few years ago it looked like he'd never...
But he's fought his way back, and here you see him playing here today. Perhaps not as good as ever, but even if he's only a quarter as good as he was, he's still better than anybody.
From Washington, D.C., this is NASL Championship Soccer.
Moving.
The Fort Lauderdale Strikers have broken the scoreless string of Bill Irwin of Washington. They've scored a goal while we were away. David Irving pumped it home. As we get a look at it right here, Paul. Watch for Irving, number 17.
So the through ball to Irving, running on, turning nicely on the ball here and putting it just out of Irving's reach. Irwin over Irving's headed. Too similar, these names for me, John.
Irving beats Irwin, and it's 1-0 Fort Lauderdale. The time of the goal, 7 minutes and 15 seconds into the first half. And Maurice Whittle was the man who made that nice through pass to him. And he'll get credit for an assist. So the Strikers, who had only scored 1 goal in their first 2 games, have scored 1 here in the first 7 minutes plus.
Surprised at their records. Washington probably surprised at having won 2 games, and Fort Lauderdale surprised at having lost 2 games. And I think Fort Lauderdale will be out to remedy that situation if they possibly can here.
The Diplomats, a ball club vastly revamped by their new coach, Gordon Bradley. Now Irving tries to beat Mike Dillon, but Dillon drops it back to his goalkeeper, Bill Irwin. Gordon Bradley, of course, the former coach of the Cosmos up in New York. And he was hired by the Diplomats last October and has really drastically changed the face of this ball club. Washington just could not put the ball in the net last year. They had a good defense most of the season, and then everything just seemed to fall apart late in the year. Finished up 10-16. Just the opposite for the Strikers. A good start, mediocre middle, and then they just were unbeatable at the end of the season and finished up 19-7. Chip ahead for Colin Fowles. He's going to have to chase it, and will lose the battle out of bounds. Throw in for the Diplomats, Roy Wilner. Number 16 from Baltimore, 2-time junior college All-American at Catonsville, JC. Diplomats' midfield play has let them down up to this point. They're not penetrating very well at all. Now here's one for Cannell, number 9. Whelan is on him. He's got Stokes in the middle. Here's the cross for Stokes. It goes to the far post. Coming in is Mike Bakic, number 11, but he can't get to it. And over the end line it goes, and a Fort Lauderdale goal kick.
See a very cool piece of play by goalkeeper Gordon Banks then, just calmly watching that ball as it went over his head, not getting excited at all about it, knowing somehow that ball was going to go out.
Gordon Banks in a bit of O'Hara, and now he has the ball to Dewsnam. Nicely done. This is Hudson, number 4. He's tripped by Marcantonio, number 5, and a foul is called. Free kick for the Strikers. Here's a look at that last play.
It's right through his leg. A lovely bit of play. Of course, the player who had it done to him doesn't think it's so lovely, and there he's really tripped by 2 players. In fact, they're falling over one and crashing into the second.
Free kick on the far post is Fowles, and it's cleared away from him on a header by Wilner of Washington to his goalkeeper, Bill Irwin.
A nice header, good style, but from that angle, almost impossible to beat the goalkeeper. Maybe it should have been headed back into the middle rather than at the goalkeeper.
Cannell goes after the ball with Whelan, and a foul is called on Paul Cannell.
He had his foot way up.
They've been a rough ball club. They had 25 fouls called against them in their first game at Philadelphia. 17 more last week. They played rough. Cannell was ejected in that ball game in Philadelphia after he'd gotten 2 goals. Irving working with Colin Fowles. Drops it to Hudson. Ahead, Irving in the penalty area, but Tommy O'Hara there to clear it. Irving lost his shoe, but Fort Lauderdale has it again. Fullback Andy Rolland. Crossfield pass. Fernley brings it in, overlapping from his left fullback position. It's cleared from him over the end line, and it will be a Fort Lauderdale corner kick. Viteskic got back to clear that one. So the Strikers now have to choose somebody to take the corner kick, and Ray Hudson's going to come into your picture.
They seem very reluctant to take that kick, John. No, finally Ray Hudson is going over there.
I don't want to take it. No, you take
Well,
it.
it's unusual. I mean, an offensive sort of gift like that, a corner kick, but nobody's going over to take it.
Ray Hudson, good year for the Strikers last year. They had a lot of solid players with a lot of desire last year. No superstars. Look out, a header just goes wide. Dewsnip got in there. Goal kick Washington from Washington. This is NASL Championship Soccer.
Shep Messing for Smokeless Tobacco.
I love soccer. And I love tobacco. But I don't light up. I get my tobacco pleasure the smokeless way. And so can you. With mild, Happy Days mint, Skoal with the fresh wintergreen flavor, and Copenhagen for straight tobacco taste. Just a little pinch between your cheek and gum is all it takes. But the best part of going smokeless, it's really relaxing. Try some.
Heads are turning to Vitalis. Heads are turning.
Pardon me. Can I give you a lift?
Heads are turning to Vitalis.
Hey!
Heads are turning.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
Today's women are turning to men with shorter hair. That's why more men are turning to Vitalis for that clean together, younger look. So use Vitalis and start some heads turning.
Excuse me, is the seat taken?
Heads are turning.
John Miller with Paul Gardner. Here come the strikers. This is Dusnip. Look out, and Irwin comes 8 yards out of the net to pull it off. Dusnip very nearly got loose that time. 1-0 Fort Lauderdale. And Bakic just lost that one, and Gordon Banks fields the pop-up in front of the goal. We've played 13 minutes and 40 seconds of the first half from RFK Stadium in Washington. And our next telecast of the NASL 2 weeks from today, April the 30th, when the Cosmos, the New York Cosmos, the champions of the North American Soccer League, meet the very tough Tampa Bay Rowdies. Paul, when's the last time the Cosmos have even come close to winning down in Tampa?
I'm not sure they ever have won down there. I've seen them being beaten, I think 5-0. What was it last season? 4-2?
4-2.
Yeah, they don't exactly prosper down in Tampa.
Well, you can expect a big crowd, and there will be a lot of outstanding players. So check your local listings for the station and time in your area 2 weeks from today on TVS. Ball belongs to Washington. One out of bounds. Roy Wilner to throw it in. Ray Graydon drops it back to Wilner. Back to Graydon. Cleared from behind by Fernley. Diplomats get it back. Jimmy Steele, look out. Hudson almost stole it from him. Dillon, quick pass ahead. Graydon being fought off down there by Fernley. Over the end line it goes. And it will be a Fort Lauderdale goal kick. The Strikers suffering from injuries. They've got a couple players back who have not been in the lineup as yet, but they're still missing Norman Piper, good offensive player, and their leading scorer from last year, Georgie Nanshaw. Did not even make this trip. Nanshaw, the man last year when the Strikers got hot, he was the catalyst. Scored all of his goals and assists in a 10-game period. The Strikers won 9 of those games. O'Hara will take it from the Washington end. If you're watching in color, you see that the field is different colors in different areas. Diplomats paint the penalty areas here in the midfield circle. Bobby Stokes for Mike Bakic. Bakic picked up by Andy Rolland, playing his first game for the Strikers today. Knocked loose. The Strikers can't save it in bounds. Throw in for Washington. Bakic, who played for Rochester last year, 3 goals and 4 assists. Diplomats set up in front of the goal now. Bakic deciding whether he wants to throw a long one in.
He's been told to hurry it up by the referee. He's really taken his time over this.
Gets the ball into Bobby Stokes. High chip. Far post. Hits off the back of the head of Graydon, and now he's down on the turf. And he's either hurting or he's alerting the referee that he felt he got fouled. Long one down the field, and Jimmy Steele's going to wrap it up for the Diplomats. 28 minutes and 40 seconds left, first half. 1-0 Fort Lauderdale leading Washington.
Graydon still down in the penalty area writhing. He got bumped by Fernley as they went up for that ball there. It's difficult to imagine what the injury can be, though. Certainly hurting him.
Well, if now the referee's going to stop time to have a look at the injured player. From Washington, D.C., this is NASL Championship Soccer.
Where do you see what Kodak's packed into pocket cameras now? Introducing Kodak Ektra cameras. 4 new cameras that'll let you take more pictures, more places, more often. Can your camera take fast action and stop it on the fly? Ektra can do. Can it reach into dark shade and bring back beautiful color? Ektra can do. All 4 Ektra cameras adjust automatically to standard speed film and to the new super fast film, such as Kodacolor 400. Want to get twice as close to the action without moving a step? Ektra can do. Or stop action at night with electronic flash. Ektra can do. Now you can get an extra camera that takes action shots, an extra camera that takes shade shots, an extra camera that takes telephoto shots. 4 extra cameras in all, one just right for you. New extra cameras, the can-do cameras from Kodak.
There you get a look at Ray Graydon, and he is up with Steve Horner, the Diplomats trainer, administering to him, and he's going to try and walk it off, apparently hurting his right knee or in that area. And Graydon's going to give it a go right now. We'll restart the game with a drop ball as you look at Graydon moving back upfield. David Irving and Jimmy Steele will contest it, and referee Paul Avis will drop it between them. And Fort Lauderdale gets it. Colin fouls, but he loses. The Diplomats get it back to their goalie. They'll start from there. Irwin gives it up to O'Hara, the left fullback. O'Hara unmarked to midfield. The strikers dropping back and picking up there. Now Bakic, he's double teamed, and whistle blows and a foul is called. So Bakic was fouled, and a free kick for the Diplomats along the left wing.
Dewsnip, who's a forward, running back in a sense to mark another forward, and forwards are really not all that good at tackling very often. That was a very crude affair from behind.
O'Hara gets the ball to Jimmy Steele. The Diplomats have everybody pushing up now. Steele into the penalty area, still holding. Now tries to drop it off to O'Hara, but as he did, O'Hara made a cut back. The ball out of bounds.
I'm afraid Steele was in trouble if he'd lost that ball, because as you said, they had everybody up, and if Fort Lauderdale had got that ball, they really had not exactly clear sailing, but pretty open space in front of them.
Washington has it right back. Here's Bakic. He's got Stokes and Cannell in front if he can get it to him, but he can't. Good tackle by number 2, Maurice Whittle, to get the ball away from him. Now Irving loses it. O'Hara knocks the ball off Irving, out of bounds. Washington throw in. Bakic, number 11, to do it. Get a good look there at George Dewsnip. Here's O'Hara. Tries to thread the needle to Bakic, intercepted by Andy Rolland. Chip ahead, and it's knocked down by the Diplomats. Mike Dillon, former Cosmo. Now Mark Antonio. Played with the Toronto Metros the year they won the league championship. That one went through everybody. Belongs to Fort Lauderdale. Well, Gordon Bradley did something unusual there. That last thrust up the field, we were talking about it. They had everybody, all 10 players except for the goalie, were in the offensive end.
Yes, and it was a defender, a key defender, a central defender, Steele, who was dribbling the ball through. That's why I say if he loses the ball when he's doing that, then his team is in big trouble.
It is a gamble at this point. It's still very early in the ball game, and they're down by a goal, but Gordon Bradley already is pushing up, going for the tying goal. Diplomats have a free kick after a Fort Lauderdale foul.
Evidently not a policy. Not everybody is up on this free kick by any means. So it's...
Cannell gets it in front. Look out. Here's Bakic, and Gordon Banks beats him to it. Got the ball inside to Paul Cannell. Number 9, and we'll get a look at it.
This is Banks going down, well, not quite at the feet of Bakic, but certainly close enough to be dangerous.
High chip now. Going after the ball is Irving. Cleared from him by Dillon, and O'Hara saves it in the corner for Washington. Ahead to Jimmy Steele, and a blindside tackle by Whittle knocks the ball out of bounds. Washington throw in. 25.5 minutes left, first half. Early look at the statistical rundown. Oh, kind of a wild chip, intercepted by Aguirre. Graydon was kicked in the knee and will play 5 or 10 more minutes to test it. And according to Steve Horner, the trainer, they think it'll be all right. Ball cleared by Mike Dillon. Goes out of bounds, and it'll be a Fort Lauderdale throw-in, and they've got pretty good position here.
Well, they're a good attacking team. They get a lot of men forward. In fact, if you look at their lineup, even in the back four and midfield, they've got a lot of players who used to be forwards. Whittle used to be a forward. Fernley used to be a forward. Whelan used to be a forward. All players defenders now. So their instincts are to come forward and attack.
Here's Hudson. Goes around one man and then bounces the ball off O'Hara over the end line. And Fort Lauderdale will get a corner kick out of it.
This time Hudson knows he's going to take it.
Ball, a corner kick. Is it as dangerous a play as a lot of people think?
The answer to that is yes and no. Can't be more specific than that. It depends on
what team is doing it.
Exactly. It depends on the talent you've got up there and how you utilize it. A lot of goals are scored from corner kicks. So that one, as you see, was put right into the hands of goalkeeper Bill Irwin. I say right into the hands. We give credit to Irwin for coming out and getting it, of course.
Took it away from Irving. as Irving was making a run from the outside toward the net that time. Here come the Diplomats counterattacking. Bakic across the 35. Knocked away by Rolland. Rolland just arrived here a couple of days ago. First game for Fort Lauderdale coming in from England.
When did he get injured? He's almost straight off the plane, isn't he?
Just about. They were afraid that he might be suffering from jet lag. Thus far, he's looked pretty good. O'Hara loses the ball to Curtis Leeper, playing his first game as a starter today. He loses. Diplomats have it. Lob ahead for Bobby Stokes. It's over his head, and Aguirre clears it away. Washington throw in deep in the corner. Quickly, Stokes will get the ball in. Tries to get it in short to Bakic, but throws it away. Diplomats are not working very well together right now. This is Viteskic. They get it back. Drops it out to O'Hara. Again, all 10 players are in beyond the midfield line. In for Cannell. It's too high for Cannell, and there he takes a shot at Gordon Banks.
Now, we have a typical example there of the sort of thing Cannell does. I think the referee should have called that.
Get a look at it now.
Now, you'll see that Banks has possession of the ball. He's got possession of the ball now, and Cannell is coming in late and hit it.